Welcome to the Joy of Cruising podcast with your host, award-winning author Paul C. Thornton, a weekly conversation with the amazing cruisers featured in the Joy of Cruising trilogy, comprised of The Joy of Cruising, Cruising Interrupted, and new release, The Joy of Cruising Again. Each book is a compilation of features about cruisers and cruise and travel personalities from around the world. It's the next best thing to cruising, hearing about cruising from the unique and diverse perspectives of Paul's amazing guests.
Hello, passionate cruisers. Today I am delighted to welcome to the Joy of Cruising podcast, Rich and Jasmine Rand-Marine, the creators of one of the most popular YouTube channels in the world, A Rich and Jazzy Life, along with their highly influential private Facebook group, the 52,000-member Melanin at Sea. A Rich and Jazzy Life was featured in my new book, The Joy of Cruising Again, in a section called The Cruise Communicators. Of course, A Rich and Jazzy Life is a play on Rich and Jasmine's names. I didn't know that when it showed up in my search results on YouTube after I searched for Carnival Mardi Gras, which I had just booked for my granddaughter's 13th birthday celebration. Despite seeing some search results I was familiar with, I clicked on the one I wasn't familiar with. The name, A Rich and Jazzy Life, evoked style and glitz, and I was curious. The style and glitz was off the chart. The visuals were compelling, including a well-dressed, beautiful family, and the review was substantive. I became a loyal fan with that introduction to A Rich and Jazzy Life and proceeded to go through their video catalog. It is my pleasure to have Rich and Jasmine on the Joy of Cruising podcast. Jasmine and Rich, welcome to the Joy of Cruising podcast.
Thank you.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So how you both doing?
Oh, we're great. Very blessed. We're just, we are, like we just said, we are just going through a lot of motions,
We got a lot going on at the same time.
Yes, a lot going on at the same time, but everything is good, all positive things. So
Definitely.
We're very good.
So I follow you on social media, and when you say there's a lot going on, I gotta believe that's good stuff.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely good stuff.
Yep.
Between being a parents, being travel vloggers, running a business, Richard working full time. It's all positive, but it's a lot.
Yep. So how's the family? How's Royce and Rain, or is it Rain and Royce?
It's Rain. Rain is the oldest and Royce is the youngest. They're 7 and 5 now. They are doing great. They love school. They've been going to school every day and just being a kid, after school activities. And they can't wait to get on their next cruise. They keep asking, well, when are we going to take another cruise?
No one is living a better life than Rain and Royce.
Two blessed little girls, but they are doing great. And they are doing their own thing with modeling and acting as well. So it's just a lot with them as well.
Well, I just adore those little girls, and they're a big part of the reason you're part of my book. I'm just kidding.
That might be true.
Right.
So Rain and Royce are an integral part of A Rich and Jazzy Life, appearing in its opening montage on YouTube and often in the channel's videos. You guys unabashedly note that family cruising is a key aspect of your channel, right?
Yes, it's basically the core of our channel because we started YouTube just to record family memories anyway. So we always try to remind ourselves that that's what it's about. In terms of cruising, we make sure that our goal with cruising and YouTube at the same time is to promote families cruising more than anything else. More than Rich and Jazzy is the family cruising together. It's cruising with kids. It's trying to help families get comfortable with cruising with kids. It's so at the core, yeah, they are definitely a huge part of it.
And most of the time, when you feature your beautiful daughters in your videos, mom, dad, and the girls are almost always dressed in matching outfits. Talk about that.
Yeah. So, Rich and I always, before we had kids, we always matched. So we are, what was the saying? they're new to
We're
this.
right. We're true to this.
But we're true to this.
Yeah.
So the kids, once they came along, we was just like, well, we got to start doing family matching, and we would just
kind
find
of automatic.
outfits.
It just automatically happened because like we said, we already matched. So
right. And then we found a company to sponsor us, and they provide a lot of our family vacation outfits. When we're not working, when we don't wear those clothing, a lot of the stuff I just love matching. Rain and Royce, if you see them on a regular day, they're matching. They wear matching clothes every single day. So matching is just like a huge integral part. Like, I think that's what people know us for. They're like, oh, that's a family. Right. It's part of the brand. When they see us, they're like, okay, I know this family is going to be matching. Like,
every day.
Every day.
Well, in the new Joy of Cruising again, I have plenty of photos of you all matching. And when I promote your podcast episode on social media, the audience will get to see what I'm talking about. So,
okay,
all right.
Speaking of outfits, let me state for the record that in keeping with your name, A Rich and Jazzy Life, you are easily the best dressed vloggers. Talk about the importance of that to your brand.
Wow.
That's a huge compliment.
That is a huge compliment. Best dressed.
Yes.
I mean, Richard was best dressed in his high school. He was at his senior class.
I won an award for best dressed in high school, and I kind of tried to keep up with that the best I can. So to get the award from you for best dressed family definitely means a lot.
Right. And I think like when you say, Rich, like when you dress for success, you bring that on to you as a family. So
it's the energy you attract.
Exactly. Yeah. If I feel like our names speak of, it's a play, even though our names are Richard and Jasmine, and some people don't realize that that's our names, Richard and Jazzy. They just think that we're just bragging about this rich and jazzy life that we have. But you could be rich in so many ways, and jazzy in the way that you do your clothes. So that's the way, and my family always says, like, Jasmine, she always going to be jazzy. The way she dresses her daughters, the way her and Richard matches. I think that just shows when we step out of our cabin, okay? We are going to be best dressed, honey, on that ship.
So let's, how did Rich and Jazzy Life originate? And how's it going?
You want to start?
So we started off, like we said, we started off just looking to take picture taking to the next level. So we always took a lot of pictures. So even in our matching days of just me and Jasmine dating, we have a lot of pictures, lots of pictures. When we travel, so many pictures. So video kind of made a lot of sense. And then with Rain being born, we pretty much started recording immediately. We opened the channel a month after Rain was born. I started A Rich and Jazzy Life, and immediately it was named. We've never had a name change. We started off as A Rich and Jazzy Life, and it was one of those sit down and think about what's a good name if we're going to start a YouTube channel. And the YouTube channel was really only a place to archive video. We did not really expect anyone else to watch it, and except for our family.
So we demanded it for our family.
We knew we could record some video, we can upload it on YouTube versus Facebook, since YouTube was more of the video platform versus Facebook. And that would be a way of our family seeing what we have going on.
Right, because we moved. We left New York City in 2015 and we moved to Atlanta. So that's why mainly we were like, okay, we want to keep them in a loop of like where we're going and like different activities that we're doing around Atlanta. So that's why we started the channel. But you want to talk about how's it going?
And how it's going is now some people like watching us besides our family. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, stop being modest. It's a global powerhouse.
Global powerhouse. Wow, I'll take it.
So we've always loved cruising. And after the pandemic, so now we are 2 years in-ish of going all out cruising. Now we do have some old cruising content, which was just mixed in with all of our content, but we've become all out cruising and just double down on cruising because we cruise a lot. So our channel has become mainly cruising with kids.
You've called the name A Rich and Jazzy Life aspirational. Say something about that.
I think the words rich when some people hear the word rich, they think it money automatically. And we are rich in so many ways, in our relationship, rich in our health, rich in having a beautiful, happy family. A lot of people in this world don't have those things. And to be able to get in our bed at night and look at all that we have achieved in our 30 some years of life, it shows how rich that's what I want people to look at us and aspire to be. You can be as rich as you want to be, and Jazzy, when I say Jazzy, it's like,
it's all about our energy,
energy, the sass, the way we dress, the way my mannerisms, the things that I say, my little sayings, all of that makes Jazzy. So it's all about you adding what is your personality? Always let your personality shine forth. Everybody, I don't want, when I see other like YouTubers and family vloggers, what makes you and what makes you exciting and want an audience to watch?
And that's what
do you
your
aspire to?
Rich and Jazzy is. And that's why we intentionally end all our videos by saying, continue to live a rich and jazzy life, because the intention is, and of the whole video is, that you also can live a rich and jazzy life. If you accept that, what is rich? What is jazzy? Like we just described.
Right. It's all up to you.
And then you added Melanin at Sea, which is becoming a powerhouse in its own right. Talk about that.
Melanin at Sea, we actually, people probably don't know that we started that in the heart of the pandemic.
Yeah.
We actually launched that and opened the Facebook page. If you look at the date it was opened, it was like September 2020. Not very far off the lockdown. Everyone's still afraid to go outside. Cruising is not going to be open for another year. But like I said, we always had that love for cruising. And we had just been, of course, locked down and spending a lot more time in the house than we planned on. So we had a lot more time to brainstorm. And we talked about having a Facebook group of people like us, people more like us, a community of us. We already had a little platform, Rich and Jazzy Life. So it wouldn't be that hard. We looked at it for us to start something up like that. And we just figured if we had a little Facebook group that we could start and have little conversations, that would be a great way to start. And we launched it, and it kind of sat dormant until a year later when cruising reopened.
Yeah, in July, it's like some more people, as soon as people notice, like, oh, I can start booking cruises now. Then people would search things on Facebook, and then
of course we started kicking it up by putting it on our YouTube. I had bought the products. I actually had one of my friends make the first Melanin FC t-shirt. It was a completely different logo, and he made a couple for us, and he made probably the first 20 shirts or so for me. And then one day I just started saying, you know what, I need to be able to get these out a little faster to more basically friends and family, not even selling them. And I said, let me start learning how to make this myself and how to start selling the merch. And the merch really helped push the Melanin SC movement, in addition to the other YouTubers loving the platform. And kind of also, AK Adventures was the first ones to get on board with us.
Yeah.
And they also helped us to build a brand from the beginning.
Right. And then we brought along Addie and Terry, and then we formed that trifecta. And it's just, a brand that it's like our third baby that we're just so proud of, to see the growth in, and to see so many people of color who love to cruise, and us sharing our experiences and our videos and our pictures and telling the do's and don'ts and what happened to me on this cruise, sharing funny stories. It's all about that. And it's not just about, it's a group of just people of color, and it's all about just group of people of color. Right. No,
it's more about the highlight of diversity at sea.
Diversity at sea.
That's what it's really about.
Because sometimes when I went on cruises and I would see other Black people and stuff, we never spoke, but I felt like the t-shirts, the reason why we created those t-shirts, it was a way for people to connect and say, oh, it's an icebreaker. Oh, you in that Facebook group? So am I. Hey, how you doing? that's at least that one person that you can say hello to on the cruise, besides who you obviously travel with. So
And
it
that's
was
why
more
we
of an
did
icebreaker.
that's why we did the one day where we say the first day at sea to wear it, because we want you to run into each other with the shirt on together on the same day. So that was all intentional. And we are just blown away at how it has become a true icebreaker, and people taking pictures with strangers and becoming friends. And now we have the group cruises, and people have met each other because of the community and have become friends and going on their own cruises together and developing their own friendships together. It's really moving in the right direction, and we're really so happy to see the way it is going.
That's ingenious, a visual icebreaker.
Yeah.
I know that this is not a video podcast, but I'm dressed for the part. I have on my Melanin at Sea t-shirt.
Yes, he's out here representing.
Yes,
we appreciate that.
We appreciate it.
And I've represented in Italy, in France, in Spain, throughout the Caribbean. In 3 weeks, I'll be wearing my Melanin at Sea t-shirt in Hawaii.
Woo!
And then Alaska. So
you're fancy.
I'm doing my part.
I heard
you
that.
are definitely holding it down.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
So you mentioned the pandemic shutdown, which I don't want to talk about too much because I hated it, but I can imagine it was tough for you. But you came out of the lockdown with a cruising fury. Give us a few highlights of your ambitious return to cruising.
Yeah, we came out of cruising saying that we came back to cruising after the pandemic, and we took that first cruise. The videos did so well. It was basically a sign that we could not ignore on our YouTube channel. And part of us, we just sat there one night and said, you know what, let's double down on cruising. Let's go in on more cruises. And of course, we went on that first cruise and we were just so excited. We couldn't wait to get back on another ship.
Right.
And the more we kept doing it.
What was that first cruise?
And that first cruise was the Carnival Mardi Gras, which just in general, that ship was so hyped up. It was coming for so long. The pandemic stopped it from coming, delayed that ship. It was a brand new class for Carnival, which is the biggest cruise line anyway in the world. So everyone is so interested in the ship, like us, because we're cruise lovers. Every cruise lover could not wait to be a part of the ship. We got on there and we just fell in love with cruising all over again and realized how much we missed cruising when we didn't get to cruise for that 2 years.
Well, that's how I discovered you. My granddaughter and we had planned to go on the roller coaster on Mardi Gras, before the pandemic. That was in our plans, and of course that was very much delayed. But after the restart, I did a search on YouTube on Carnival Mardi Gras, and I got a lot of results. And many of the results were YouTubers, bloggers that I have featured in the books, that I was very familiar with and I knew that I could rely on. But one search result caught my eye because of the name, A Rich and Jazzy Life. I never heard of them. And I said, well, let me click on that. That sounds kind of hip. And I clicked on it and hip. Fashionable, glitzy, off the charts.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But as I watched your videos, it was much more than just a hip, glitzy name. It was your material, your content was very substantive, and I said, and then I saw Royce and Rain. I said, I got to get a hold of these folks.
Thank you. Yeah, we try to provide at the end of the day, we always go back to our why. We do try to have our vlogs because we're documenting our family vacations, right? But we also, now we notice that we have an audience. Okay, we've been noticed we had an audience, but we have an audience of people who are interested in cruising, want information out of us. So we are also providing you with what to do. This is how you do this. Even if you're a first-time cruiser, you can watch our vlogs and get information, say, oh, okay, well, that's what you could do at this port. And this is what you can expect when you go on this ship. And this is what the menu looks like on the first night and the second night. And, we tried to give you all that information while having fun and while making it entertaining.
We look into that camera lens and we basically we see you there with us, and we try to take it as if our vlogs are set up not hardcore informational, but the information is there. But the vlogs are set up where we're taking that camera and we're basically taking you with us. So we want you to feel like you're there with us, and you're coming, you spent the day with us, you came along for the ride, you came along for the cruise. That's the experience we try to give.
So I said you returned to Cruising with the Fury. So you started with Mardi Gras. Give us some highlights of the next few ships.
So from the Mardi Gras, we jumped on, what was the other one? You took the solo cruise? Your semi-solo?
Yes, I did the Carnival Sunrise with my best friend Keyshawn. That was a great little, finally, mommy getting away. That was right after the first.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was in September. Then in October, Rich and I did Virgin Voyage. We did the Mermaiden on the Scarlet Lady.
Another ship which is crazy anticipated because, again, it was delayed. So it was another ship that was just so hyped up. An adults cruise, we cannot believe that was even a thing, an adults cruise. And it looked like such a sexy ship. We had to be a part of that. So we could not wait to be a part of that. So that was a major highlight to get on there for us also.
Major highlight. And those videos did really well as well, because that was like the unknown to everyone. No one knew about it.
What was it, tough leaving Rain and Royce at home?
No, it was not. First, we felt bad.
That was pretty emphatic there.
No, we did. We felt bad because, they're so used to always traveling with mommy, daddy. So
we just we never left them, actually. So when we took that cruise, if I'm counting right, I believe that was it was actually only our third trip alone. Yeah. Since they were born. So our third trip in 5 years.
5 years.
So we're 3 trips in 5 years without kids is you'll definitely be uncomfortable. So there was a lot of worrying and a lot of pep talking each other into like we're not going to FaceTime. We're not going to FaceTime. Right. No, we're not going to FaceTime.
And I think that couples, like parents out there, back to family cruising, it's important for you as a couple, to get away and enjoy why you guys got together, so that's why, we try. So after that Virgin, we said to ourselves, we're going to try to do at least once or twice a year, just Richard and I. So
we've adopted that.
Since then.
Well, I'm going to follow you to Virgin. I have not yet cruised Virgin, but I am definitely intrigued. When it first came out, I was hesitant. First of all, the no kids policy, and I cruise almost all the time, but not all the time, but almost all the time with my granddaughter. So I took a little bit of pause as far as that's concerned, and then they said they had no buffets, and buffets kind of helped draw me to cruising. But I'll be honest, after the pandemic, I'm kind of lukewarm on buffets anyway, so I could get over that. So yeah, I have Virgin on my list, and I won't even say bucket list, because bucket list usually implies years away. My goal is to go on Virgin in 24.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep. So what was next?
After Virgin, that was October. Then in November we did MSC.
It was our first time on MSC. It was also their latest ship at the time. And again, we were so excited. Brand new ship, new cruise line for us. Seashore.
Yeah.
So it was the Seashore, and we were blown away at the beauty of the ship.
And that was the inaugural sailing of that Thanksgiving week. But the beauty, we were like, wow, this is amazing. We never been on a ship so gorgeous. And we were just amazed by those Swarovski crystal staircases. Just everything was so elegant. The size of the rooms just seemed larger on their ships. We really enjoyed that ship, besides the little hiccups that they,
more hiccups than we've ever had.
Yeah, more hiccups.
Again, always looking at the positive side of things. We never wanted to discourage anyone from going on the ship. We we made it very clear that this ship is really beautiful. You still are going to have a great time. So it still ended up being a positive highlight in our cruising journey.
Yep. Now I'm booked for the Mirabilia in December, and I understand that there's been quite a few hiccups, trying to get into the U.S. market, especially around service. I hear that there are some issues they need to work out as far as dealing with American or U.S. Cruisers, but I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt, and I'm booked for Christmas.
Oh, nice.
That'll be a good one.
Yep.
Yeah,
Very nice.
Christmas,
Yeah, because I know it's coming to New York. They have this summer, so that's great. That's going to be a great, nice cruise.
And then I understand you went on the new largest ship in the world, right? Wonder.
Yes, I think that was, well, before we went on the Wonder, we took our very first Disney cruise.
Oh,
we did the Wonder. We did the Disney Dream, and
For
that
Christmas.
was huge for us because we've always dreamed, I think even before we had kids,
So
we always wanted to
before-
go on a Disney cruise.
Before the pandemic, we had started when Rain was less than a year, and we took her to Disney World for Christmas. And somehow we ended up where every Christmas we were going to Disney World with the girls. I know people are like, oh, well, why would you take a 10-month-old to Disney World? Well, because number one, they're free. So you should absolutely take them when they're free.
Yeah, absolutely.
And, it just became a tradition for us. And once we got there, and Disney was so magical for Christmas, and it completely got us in a Christmas spirit, we just loved it. It became a thing. But then we said this year now we were jumping all into cruising. So what made the most sense was to get on our first Disney cruise, and that's what we did. And it was everything we imagined and then some.
Yeah, even with the restrictions on the ship, because it was still obviously a lot of COVID restrictions, we had an amazing time that we couldn't wait to do another Disney cruise.
And they were actually the most restrictive cruise line at the time.
Oh yeah, they weren't playing no games. And but we had a wonderful, wonderful, magical time on the Disney Dream. And that helped us also to get noticed by Disney, the Disney company as well. But I guess we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, I was going to say, I took my grandchildren on their first cruise. I made sure to choose Disney as for their first cruise. So I can imagine what it felt like for you as parents with Rain and Royce.
yeah.
But we will come back to Disney in a minute. So I think next was Wonder, right?
Right. That was in March. We didn't do no cruise in January, so we skipped over January. We went straight to March, and we didn't do January or February, right? No, you did.
I did a cruise.
I forgot. We keep forgetting about that real quick cruise.
I did one with my best friend. Now it was my turn to get away. So I actually took one out of California. I got on a Carnival Radiance with my best friend. That one was a little bit weird because it was really at the height of Omicron. So most people cancel their cruises. So the ship's capacity was like the lowest I probably will ever see in my life. It was way less than 50%. If I had to guess, I would say that ship was at like 20%. There was almost no one on that cruise ship. I don't even know how they were. I know they definitely took a financial L on that cruise.
And that was a newly refurbished ship.
Yeah, but we had a great time. It was a new ship for me. I'm always excited to get what's new for me, even though it's not a new cruise ship. So we had a good time. And then in March, we did skip February. And then in March, we came on the biggest, baddest thing on the sea.
The biggest
wonder of the
ship in
seas.
the world. The Wonder of the Seas. Now, that goes without saying, as soon as you walk on, that was we've never been on a cruise ship that big, obviously. So we were just amazed at the size.
And we've never been on any Oasis class. So it's not like we were going to be saying that, oh, well, this is just a few feet bigger. No, for us, the biggest we had been on at the time was the Mardi Gras. So you're talking about passengers alone, at least 1,000 people more. So don't even talk about size-wise. Oh, my goodness. It was mind-blowing for us.
A small city.
Yes,
exactly.
for sure.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I chose for my return to cruising. It wasn't a furious return like you all, but for my return, my first cruise after the pandemic, I wanted something, a ship that was special. So I said, why not go on the largest ship in the world? And it was when I booked it. So I returned to cruising on Symphony of the Seas. But by the time embarkation came, it was no longer the largest ship in the world. Wonder had it beat by a little
Right.
bit. But it was pretty nice, huh?
Yeah, really nice. I love the casino on that ship. I love that they have food in the casino on that ship.
Oh man.
So we was eating
To
like
this day,
chicken.
it's still a highlight.
It was definitely a great time. It was also great because we got to meet so many other YouTube cruise vloggers. So we got to see and meet
People
a
that
lot
we
of
watch.
people that
We
we
got to meet them in
watch,
person.
that we share this space with. We got to meet them in person and connect. And I thought that was really cool as well. So that definitely heightened the experience as well, being able to share that space with so many other, like-minded, accounts. So that
It was
fun.
just like going and hanging out with friends. It was so that made it so cool.
Yeah.
Well, I know you went on a lot of other wonderful ships, but I want to get to one. So I have a little, in your feature in the Joy of Cruising again, I have a little part of your feature I call "Put Some Respect on That Name." So tell the listeners what I'm talking about.
Well, we were just out here doing our thing, recording our cruises like we normally do. And one day we got an email. That email was from none other than Disney Cruise Line, and we could not believe it. And we had been working so hard at it, looking to be recognized by the cruise lines, and there's no other cruise line, in our opinion, that we would have put higher than Disney Cruise Line to recognize us because of our specialty with kids and our love for Disney. And when we got that email, something in us just like, look at this. Finally, someone put some respect on our name.
Yeah.
And Disney Cruise Line, and it just stuck. It just stuck, and we ran with that for pretty much the whole series. And to this day, we said, Disney Cruise Line put some respect on our name.
Yeah.
So share the content of, the highlights of that email with our listeners.
So basically it was an invite, by the social media team saying you're invited to the inaugural christening of the Disney Wish. And
it's a christening cruise, which it's so exclusive that even if you're a billionaire, you could not book that cruise.
Right.
It wasn't even available for booking.
Invite only. So that even made us feel even more special. And, for someone to take notice of our channel like that, that was just a really humbling experience for us. So basically they flew us out from Atlanta to to Orlando, and we got to go to the park for one day. They had this whole event for us, and we went on to the ship the following day. Before the ship, they had a whole christening ceremony and an event there, which was really beautiful. All of that is on our channel. And then we went on a ship. It was a 4-day or 3-day sailing. A 3-night sailing on the Disney Wish. So it was just jam-packed with a lot of meetings and activities for us as content creators. And it was just one of our biggest highlights for us having a YouTube channel.
They actually put us in the room with what we would call the big dogs. They had us in there with some big time creators. And it's something about being there and saying, we're not here as like we snuck in the back door or any of that. We got invited here the same way they got invited here.
Yeah, people with millions of subscribers.
We belonged in that room, and Disney put us in there. And
we have to forever be grateful to them for that, because, we've made so many connections with so many people that we've been watching for years outside of cruising, that we would never even think that, one, we'd be able to meet them, and two, to be in the same, working on the same colleagues, basically, working on the same level. It was amazing.
For my listeners who are not familiar with a Rich and Jazzy life, the first video I would recommend that you check out is the one where Rich and Jasmine open the envelope and discuss the Disney invitation. It's just so moving and so fun. And I don't know, what should they put in the search field? Put some respect on that name?
We probably should rename that video.
Oh my gosh. Too funny.
So what projects are you working on at Rich and Jazzy Life?
So these days we are keeping very, very busy. For Rich and Jazzy Life, we are back to ramping up cruising and planning out this year and next year. We have not pulled the trigger on anything except for one cruise next year, but we're busy planning this year out. We've got our 2 group cruises, and that's what's keeping us the most busy, planning the Melanet Sea group cruises. We've got the 1.5 coming in July.
Yeah.
We've got the Seascape coming in November, and those are keeping us very busy.
Yeah, 7 nights on the Seascape. That leaves from Miami. It's Thanksgiving week. If you guys are interested, none of these are sold out yet, but they are selling out quick. The 1.5 leaves from New York. It's a 4-night to Bermuda. We wanted to give people like a different
A weekend cruise, a short option.
Right. A short option.
Did you say what ship 1.5 is on?
1.5 is on Carnival Venezia. So the Carnival Venezia, they bought that over from Costa. So that is going to be sailing out of New York. So if you guys are in the tri-state area, I would highly suggest you hit me up for cruise quotes and
jump on that group sailing with us. It'll be a good time. Our group cruise last year, if you are unfamiliar, we had 200 people on board, and we've already blown past that, way past that. We're not going to give out the number yet, but just know we've got a nice size group coming. It's going to be a good time.
Good time, yeah. And you don't have to be melanated to go on any of these cruises. So if you just want to have a good time, just come along. We welcome you guys with open arms, and it's going to be a really fun time. A
lot of cool events with the crowd. It's going to be a lot of like-minded cruisers. So the vibe of everyone vibing together is just, it's a really beautiful thing.
So I'd appreciate it if you would give our listeners a sample of what you serve up at A Rich and Jazzy Life. You recently did a fantastic video about the top new cruise ships coming in 2024. Just give us a few highlights of that.
So here at Rich and Jazzy Life, we are going to give you, number one, a lot of entertainment. So you're coming along to watch cruising, to watch the family. We're going to entertain you. We're going to give you fashion. We're going to give you a Rich and Jazzy Life. We're also looking to give you a lot of value. So we have started in the last year or so doing a Friday night live stream on our channel. And we started trying to add a little bit more value in there. So we're adding topics like the cruising, we did the top cruises coming out in 2023. We did 10 cruises in 23 and the top 5 cruises coming out in 2024.
Right.
We're also going to have guests on. We have people that are sometimes creators. Sometimes they're not creators. They're just regular everyday people who can give value. And we like to, that's a pretty big part of our channel also. Besides the videos on the cruises is the discussions that we have on those Friday night live streams.
Right. And in 2024, we were excited to talk about 5 ships that interest us, like the Sun Princess on Princess Cruise Line, in which we haven't sailed yet, but the ship looks amazing, and that'll be coming out in February of next year. We also talk about the Disney Treasure, which they haven't announced the release date yet, but that ship looks so magical and beautiful. So, of course, as Disney lovers, we can't wait to experience that. Another ship that we talked about was the Utopia of the Seas, which is going to be another Oasis class ship, which is going to be bigger than the Wonder of the Seas. So that's going to be dope. And of course, the Icon of the Seas,
which we spent the most time talking about, but it is the biggest
cruise ship in the world, of course. So that goes without saying, going to be absolutely amazing. And
last but not least, we put in that Carnival is bringing over another Costa ship, which is a pretty new ship, actually. The ship is only a couple of years old, and I mean like 2-3 years old. And that's going to be converted into a Carnival ship, an Italian style Carnival ship. So
yeah, and it's a Vista class ship, so it's a nice size ship.
Oh yeah.
How can our listeners follow A Rich and Jazzy Life and Melanin at Sea on the internet and social media.
So Rich and Jazzy Life, our core is in YouTube, A Rich and Jazzy Life. We are also very active on Instagram.
Yeah.
We're very active on Facebook. We are on TikTok sometimes, kind of, sort of. Then Melanin at Sea, we do have an Instagram and a Facebook page, which shows some highlights. But the real fun in Melanin at Sea and the real action is in the Facebook group called Melanin at Sea. And that's where the discussions are going 24/7. I can tell you I work night shift, and overnight I'm seeing people chatting, posting, interacting the whole night. I can tell who turned over in their bed and went to the bathroom and popped in. I could tell who's on their way to work. I could tell there's a couple names I could tell you. They're up at 5 a.m. every day.
Yeah, it's a great group to just come and interact. Paul, I see you in there sometimes interacting, answering questions and stuff like that. It's just a great go-to spot to talk about, cruising and have and get your questions answered.
If you're a cruise lover,
yeah,
it's amazing. Just a constant conversation of cruising.
Right. And Rain and Royce, they also have their own Instagram accounts that we're running. They're called Life of R&R. They have their own YouTube channel, Life of R&R, and they're on TikTok, Life of R&R. So we run so many accounts daily where it's so many private messages and DMs and emails, and it's not an easy task being a content creator and a business owner, but we're trying our best to manage all of these accounts and put out the best content that we can.
And a full-time employee in Richard's case. I don't know how you guys do it.
Yeah, it's a lot. Richard, I don't know.
I've got to work tonight, as a matter of fact.
Tonight. So yeah, it's a lot.
So let's talk about the future. What do you have booked?
Okay, so you want to talk about the cruise that we're going on next week?
So we have something that is so when you speak about bucket list earlier, you mentioned that bucket list is something that you usually look at 2-3 years out. And it's something that always seems, when people say bucket list, they always make it seem like it's unachievable. So we have done bucket list things. We have taken things off of our bucket list, and we have made a decision that we are going to try to check off the box on a bucket list trip at least once a year. This year, we actually checked them off on 2. One of them is, so I am from Trinidad. It's in the Caribbean, if you don't know. And the music of Trinidad is called soca music, which is very similar sounding to Afro beats. It's also similar to reggae music, I guess you could say. It's Caribbean music, and you'll know soca music when you hear it. You'll know it's very
Especially if you take cruises.
Oh yeah. So there's a specialty cruise that is called Uba Soca. And it is basically how Trinidad is known for the carnival that happens there. It is Carnival at Sea. They bring on the biggest soca artists. It's concerts. The entire ship is chartered. So they adjust the menu. It's Caribbean food every night. It is parties 24/7. They partner with the islands. So like when you get to St. Lucia, there's going to be an event there with the community in St. Lucia. When you get to Barbados, there's going to be an event there. It's really amazing.
They're having a whole carnival parade. We have a whole raft up party. They have so many events every single day. I mean, it's going to be our first time. So we are really looking forward to it. It's going to be on the Norwegian Epic. That leaves out of Puerto Rico, April 9th. So we are really looking forward to that and sharing our experience, and also sharing Richard's culture on our channel is really, dope. So we can't wait to, share something different, and looking forward to that.
Yep.
Cruise sounds wonderful. I know a soca legendary tune that a lot of cruisers are familiar with is Hot, Hot, Hot. And I actually have a chapter in the new book, a feature in the new book called Hot, Hot, Hot. Although it's not specifically on soca music, it's really about the hot, hot, hot ethos at Carnival and the fun ships and how that all started. So go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yes, yeah, that's definitely one of the most classic soca songs ever. So if everyone knows that song.
Yeah. But other than that, other cruises that we have booked, we noticed that we need to gain more of a royal audience. So we do have one coming up.
We've actually got two more books.
Two more books for this year
Mm-hmm.
on Royal Caribbean. So we look forward to that.
And we went over on our bucket list of doing one per year. We're actually going to do another bucket list trip. And part of the reason for that is the Uba Soka that we're doing is an adults only cruise. So we wanted to also check that box for Rain and Royce. So we are doing a bucket list family trip. And we're not going to give out all the details yet. You got to stay tuned to see it. We are very, very, very excited about that. It's going to be so amazing. We're taking Rain and Royce much further than the Caribbean. That's all I'll give you.
Yeah.
Well, you're doing 2 bucket list cruises this year. What do you have left on your bucket list?
Oh man!
Oh my gosh!
Where do we start? We do have a love for Disney, of course, right? And one of the things on our bucket list is to go to every Disney park in the world.
Yeah, definitely. Every Disney park in the world. And I want to get on every Disney ship. So that is
that's our Disney bucket list.
Right. To go to I think the closest one that we can achieve is to go to like Disneyland Paris. I would love to do that. Love to go to Shanghai one day, go to China. Would love to go to Japan and go to Disneyland Tokyo, so
and then besides Disney, we've got places like a Hawaii cruise is so high on our bucket list. We would love to do that.
Yeah, definitely would love to do a Hawaii cruise. I would love to do. I see that MSC does like cruises in Africa.
Oh man, that would be so dope. Yeah.
Within the next like 5 years, I would love to do that. Maybe like when I turn 40 or something, I can do that as a cruise for myself. Cruise back to the motherland. So, so that I would love to do that. And yeah, we have our bucket is long.
Pretty long. Pretty long.
Yep. As it should be. Wonderful, wonderful. So before I let you go, a couple of light or fun cruise-related questions. Well, I guess a couple of cruise-related questions and then one kind of oddball question. The first cruise-related question, this is just to give me some ideas, but maybe give the audience members some ideas as well. What's your favorite cruise drink or food or both?
Okay, well, my favorite cruise drink would be the Deal Closer. You can get that at the Alchemy Bar. It's like a chocolate martini. I love it. It's a good like after dinner drink. I love it when you just want to get your
Now, I just want to clarify for the listeners. The Alchemy Bar is on Carnival ships,
yes,
right?
On the majority of Carnival ships. There's very few of them older ships that don't have it, but on the majority of the Carnival ships, they have an Alchemy Bar, and it's called the Deal Closer. And then they also have a really good cucumber it's like a cucumber sun. I'm not sure the name of it on the menu, but it's basically a cucumber sunrise, and actually put cucumbers in it. That's a very refreshing drink. Those are my top favorite drinks. As far as food, do you have a top favorite drink?
I'll be very honest. If I named a drink, I would just be naming a drink just to name one. I really don't have a favorite drink.
You really like the sidecars that they make on Virgin.
You know what? That if I have to choose one, that'll be it. You're right.
Yeah.
Virgin makes an excellent sidecar, but not at all their bars.
No.
At the one in the roundabout.
Yes, the one at the roundabout on Virgin. Go and get a sidecar with a sugar rim. So good. As far as food, hands down, would have to be the Disney Wish at the Apollo Steakhouse. The ribeye steak. Richard enjoyed that.
So what I had there was that's the only cruise ship I've been on, and that I've seen anyway, that has the Japanese A5 steak, and that's known as the best steak in the world. Yes, the Wagyu, and oh man, the Japanese A5 Wagyu was. People say a good steak melts in your mouth, and I thought it was like, oh, well, it's just an expression until I had that steak. It actually like melts in your mouth. It is the best.
Yes, and then they take these. I'm a sucker for potatoes. They take these potatoes and they make it into like this little log cabin shaped house thing, and they are so good with the cream spinach. Paul got to go to On the Wish and go to the Palo Steakhouse because the steakhouse, I mean, we went to Palo on the other Disney ships as a regular restaurant, but the steakhouse, because they had that A5 Wagyu, that was really
that's
really,
only on the Wish.
So tender, so
no other Disney cruise Palo has that. It's only on the Disney Wish right now.
Yeah.
So the next cruise question is, what's your most memorable or funniest or even most embarrassing cruise or port experience?
Most memorable, hands down, would have to be my group cruise, our very first group cruise that we work alongside AK Adventures and Addie and Terry when we had our first Melanin at Sea group cruise, which was on the Carnival Mardi Gras last year in July.
Mhm.
And we said, let's take a picture on the Lido deck. Now everybody coined the Lido deck takeover. And we went up there to take a picture and to take to do a couple of videos. And it was just so amazing to see a sea of brown t-shirts and people representing the group and to represent diversity and to represent togetherness and just good fun times. That had to be my most memorable moment. It just made me so proud to see, so many like-minded people in our group just up there having a good time.
Finally, the oddball question. So I know you have a huge following. I mean a huge following. Welcome to the Rich and Jazzy Life and Melanin at Sea fans who are listening. Share one thing that my listeners and your fans don't know about you.
Oh, wow. Oh my gosh. I feel like I'm like an open book.
One thing you don't know is that it is March. It is the end of March and our Christmas tree is still up.
We keep a Christmas tree up in our house and we haven't taken it down because we don't have space to put it in our garage.
And all our neighbors know it because you can see it from outside.
Yes. Embarrassing. We don't have space to put in our garage yet.
Don't tell anyone, please.
Finally, announce this week's winner of a copy of The Joy of Cruising.
This week's winner is
Tiffany Hawkins.
Thank you so much, Rich and Jasmine. And they're off to pick up Rain and Royce from school. What a fun couple and what a lovely family. And to think I met them by virtue of a search button on YouTube. As they say, I'll see you on the ocean. Thank you. See ya.
Joy of Cruising and Cruising Interrupted can be ordered at the link on the joyofcruisingpodcast.com. Each $16.99 plus shipping. Order the soon-to-be-released The Joy of Cruising again, also at thejoyofcruisingpodcast.com for $18.99. For each of the 3 books, use the discount code Joy of Cruising Podcast and get $4 off. Again, the discount code Joy of Cruising Podcast. Enter to win a copy of The Joy of Cruising or Cruising Interrupted while supplies last at thejoyofcruisingpodcast.com by joining the Joy of Cruising Podcast Facebook group or both to increase your chance to win. The winner will be announced on each show. Please leave us a review and tell a friend about us. Thank you. We hope you enjoyed the brief escape to the ocean. See you next week. Exciting news, passenger cruisers. The Joy of Cruising Again book was just released. Order the ebook at your favorite online retailer. The paperback can be ordered by copying the web address listed at the podcast website, www.thejoyofcruisingpodcast.com. Don't forget to use the coupon code Joy of Cruising Podcast to get $4 off. We think you'll enjoy the new book as much as Paul enjoyed writing it, and we would love to hear your comments at the Joy of Cruising Again Facebook page or at the Joy of Cruising Instagram page. Thank you.